I'm John Anderson, the Provost at Southern Utah University. Today, all across campus, we celebrate the SUU Festival of Excellence. This is a day when the institution turns its attention to the scholarly work led by students and faculty. A personal thank you goes to each committee member, coordinator, and presenter who make this day something special. This event is in its 9th year. The first year was 2013. And this year we have more than 420 presentations, the biggest festival of excellence to date. But don't worry, next year will be even better. It is now my opportunity to introduce the Festival of Excellence keynote speaker, Kerstin Plehwe. Kerstin is one of Europe's leading female business visionaries and powerful global speakers who literally changes lives and perspectives. She is an award-winning entrepreneur, TV personality, and best-selling author with a passion for achieving extraordinary success by questioning the status quo, embracing change, and creating a positive mental attitude. As a compassionate, down-to-earth personality that has worked with Olympic athletes, political leaders, international corporations, and students alike, she empowers her clients to boost their resilience, embrace innovation, and increase their level of personal excellence and health. She is a highly inspiring, sought-after expert on new leadership, personal excellence, and corporate well-being. She has traveled to 21 countries around the globe, hosting over 1,000 live events. She's the visionary founder of various companies, sits on many boards, including the Voice of Women Foundation, and CEO of the Smart Leadership Institute, enabling leaders to combine today's leadership requirements with an optimal level of personal health and happiness, which are things we can certainly use in this year of our COVID experience. So to all of you here in the audience and via Zoom, please join me in welcoming Kerstin Plehwe.
Well, let's see. Hi, Kerstin. How are you? I'm just going to get you going and get the energy flowing for you. It's so good to have you back. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me back. I'm sending warm greetings from Germany all the way to Utah, and believe me, I would love to be with you in person in this beautiful hall, but I'm telling you, it will happen. COVID will be behind us and all those bad experiences, because we're going to go for happiness and we're going to go to meet again in person in Utah, and I will be there.
Absolutely. I know how much you were hoping to be here and how much you love it here. And we are just so excited to have you back to talk about mental health, resilience, and how we can make ourselves stronger. So I'm just going to let you go from there.
Well, let me turn on the slide here. So, go green, go great, everybody. Thank you again for having this great event. Excellence is a huge topic, not only in COVID times, but for every single one of us. And I'm happy to share some of my experiences with you today so that we can hopefully maybe boost excellence, boost happiness, and boost personal health. And let me start with a sort of I wouldn't call it a sad story, but it's a personal story. And I'm telling you, with over 50 years life experience, life can be pretty weird. We're all on a pathway on some mountain that we have chosen. Sometimes mountains have been chosen for us, but we all want to get uphill, right? But I'm telling you, and I'm here to state that with all my passion, all my strength, sometimes there are hurdles on the way that we are not aware of. And I'm here to make you aware of some hurdles so that your personal health and your personal well-being is protected much better than mine was years ago. And I'm going to tell you all about it. So one thing we all have in common, and this is we all want to be happy, right? We all want to be happy, but things are complicated. We live in a world, in an urbanized world where there are so many options, right? And so much speed. Sometimes we just stand there and think, gosh, should I take this train or that train? Should I go in this direction or that direction? Well, that sounds good too, right? So things are complicated and we need to take decisions. We need to take decisions, but sometimes, you know, our surrounding is a bit overwhelming and we have tons of options. And I was happy enough in my personal life and in my career to have had many options and had a great ride up that hill. I founded companies. My first company I had was 19, I think. I founded my foundation with 35. And I worked in politics and in the communication world with various industries, from banks to insurance companies to, I don't know what, I even won awards. And my special award that I was able to win was an award that came from the US. And as you might hear from a German, this is not the typical, I think, not the typical German, or not the typical English that a typical German would speak. Because I've spent so much time in the US. I've lived for some time in beautiful Florida, the Sunshine State, traveled to Utah and to Las Vegas. And I even won an award from the US Association of Political Consultants, the Pollie Award. I was just so happy for it. First off, because it came from America, and second off, because I was the first German to ever win it. And you know, this all sounds so great and adventurous, but I'm here to tell you that I forgot one critically important thing. And I'm here to tell you about so that you, hopefully, in your life path up on your personal mountains, will not forget that. And this is that our health and well-being, the fact that what I forgot, unfortunately, I just thought everything will just go on like this. My health is a given thing. But I learned the hard way that our health and well-being depends on our daily decisions. And when I talk about daily decisions, I mean every day, for every day during every year. And a lot of people seem to forget that, because if we look at the mental health crisis that spans the globe, we see 970 million people, it's nearly 1 billion for world population, that suffer from some kind of mental disorder. We're talking about depression, we're talking about anxiety, we're talking about eating disorders, abuse of substances, etc., and of course, depression. So 13% of the global population suffer this issue, and I came to the point that I suffered it myself. And unfortunately, I did not see it coming. I could have, and you will have after the next, I hope, 30 minutes. You will see it coming and you will find ways how to protect yourself. You're not going to make my mistake that I made so many years, that I just take my health as given and I just keep going. I just keep going for happiness, going for challenges, going for all those nice things, and I keep forgetting how important sleep is, how important nutrition is, how important physical activity is. Now I know, and I'll take you right to the solutions. But let's talk about something that is not the mental health crisis yet, but which leads there. And this is the topic of stress. Globally, we have 6 out of 10 people that suffer stress-related symptoms. And those symptoms are awful for the body and the brain. Those people suffer constant exhaustion, bad sleep, they have difficulties concentrating, and decreased coping abilities. And if you think, well, this just does not happen to me. So first of all, 6 out of 10. Second off, more and more young people are affected exactly by that. We have seen in a study from the UK and the US that 93%, only 7% of young people say that they have not experienced coping difficulties, that they have not experienced sadness and bad sleep and not being able to cope with things. And I'm thinking 93% really? 93% have coping difficulties because of stress, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, let's discuss it, and let's find a solution, because you will see, and I learned that the hard way, but you don't have to go that route. You can learn the easy way, just by following some simple guidelines. But let's talk about stress first. First of all, you need to understand stress per se is not a bad thing. Stress makes us alert. Stress helps us to focus on things, to look at the enemy. When we were brought up in the jungle, we had to see the tiger and run away from it. So stress itself, adrenaline in our body, is not a bad thing. The bad thing is if our body doesn't level down anymore. All right? So if the stress hormones just keep flooding in our system and we don't find ways to de-stress, and that weakens our immune system and our whole metabolism. It gets to our heart and the coronary system. It infects our microbiome, our intestinals, and we will see it in bad sleep, in bad fertility, or decreased fertility, and the most sad thing about it, emotional disbalance, and even missing empathy. If you're stressed out for a long time, you will find it very hard to connect on deeper levels with people, with your parents, with your family, with your partner, or with friends. So it's like a time bomb. It's like a time bomb that the longer it goes, the more difficult and the more bad effects it has for the body. You get really sick if you don't start managing your stress level. And the effects is like a tsunami. It builds up. It builds up over time, and the effects are really bad. It really brings diseases to your body. Diseases like Alzheimer, like cancer, like depression, everything in the mental area, but also autoimmune diseases. And those diseases, once you have them, are very hard to turn back, And the reason why I'm here is I don't even want you to get to that point. I want you to understand that stress has bad effects for the body if you don't start managing your stress level. And I personally, I knew I had stress, but I thought, well, this is part of the game, right? If you want to be excellent, if you want to be successful, well, it's okay to be stressed. And it is okay to be stressed every now and then. But if you're more stressed than balanced, then it becomes really, really dangerous. And the effects are multiple effects on all of the body. We experience fast aging, you experience a decreased fertility, you decrease tension throughout your body, from the intestinals to your shoulders. We experience migraines and a concentration deficit. So it will be hard for your body to focus, to feel energy, to be passionate about things. And what happens if you're continuously overloaded and stressed, you pull back from things, right? Social interaction decreases and you start to experience loneliness because your body tries to protect you from stress, but of course the opposite effect happens. The more you move back from people who care for you and who love you, and I did the same thing with my family, I pulled back because I felt unable to cope with them, to cope with personal dialogues, with conversation, with the demands of the family. So I pulled back. And this is the worst point of all, because this is the beginning of mental health issues, depression, and of course, suicide. We experience over 1 million suicides a year due to mental disorders. Over 1 million. This is one person every 35 seconds. Just imagine, one person every 35 seconds, because nobody taught us to de-stress. Nobody taught us how we can protect our soul and our heart from a very hectic and a very crazy world. Because again, we all want to be happy, and there are so many challenges and opportunities to gain that happiness, right? To boost our excellence. But there are risks, and we need to learn to manage those risks, and we need to learn to beat the invisible risk out there, the tsunami that is building up over time, building up like the stress hormones in our blood system that build up diabetes over time. We need to beat that before it happens. And this is how you and I, and hopefully future generations will be able to master what I call transformation. It's going to be a personal transformation that brings us towards excellence. And there are 6 habits for well-being. I call them protective habits because they protect our body and our soul, not just from stress, but from mental health disorders. They make sure that we feel well, that we are, on the one hand, that we can be successful, but we also can be happy and healthy. It doesn't exclude itself anymore, right? And the first thing is I want to talk to you about, and I want to take you into my kitchen, sort of, we'll talk about smart nutrition. What you eat and what you shouldn't eat, at least not that much. We talk about physical activity because it's so important for the body to have more oxygen and help to get the bad hormones out of our system. We'll talk about social engagements, to spend time, real time with real friends. And also, we will talk about regular exercises anybody can do. You don't even have to go to a yoga studio. Regular exercises that help you to de-stress. We will talk about how important it is to expose yourself to nature, to sunlight. And I'm talking real light, not, the lights that we all have in rooms and I have in rooms right here. I'm talking sunlight. I'm talking the exposure of nature because it's proven, clinically proven. Depression patients in Japan, they sit them under trees every single day, not just from what the trees give to the person through the things what's the word in English, what they put in the air, but through the positive effects of everything in nature, including the sunlight and the production of vitamin D, which happens in our body. And I'm referring to a professor in Kansas who wrote a book about this, dealing with depression without taking drugs. I can only recommend this book, and I'll hand over the title and the info later on to SUU staff so you can all share it if you want. And what he says is do more and think less. And I love that, because once you enter a state of mental anxiety, of fears, of insecurity, you start to overthink. And the more you think, the less you do. And I want to encourage you to do more and to think less. It's possible. We can kick ourselves mentally and do more. But then we start with nutrition. And I put up a little rule, I call it, and it's called the power of knowledge. There's so many nutrition talks out there and so much things that people say, don't eat this, don't drink that. I'm not like that at all. And I hate any kind of rule. Probably that's why I became an entrepreneur and I decided that very early on in school. But the power of knowledge teaches me what a human body needs. It teaches me how it functions, what generates what in the body, and therefore what I should put into my body. Because just imagine that every single thing you eat or you drink and you put into your body is the only thing that the body gets to run, right? To maintain the energy level, to maintain the focus, to help you reach that top of the mountain. So garbage in, garbage out, it's very simple at that point. Garbage in, garbage out. You need valuable sources. And to put it right up front, fast food is not a valuable source of intake. Not at all. So once you understand your body and your food, and reading food labels, for example, is very helpful in doing that, you will eat more fresh products because you will understand that the vitamins and the compounds in those fruits, legumes, etc., are just so valuable for your blood cells, for every cell of your trillions of cells in your body, and especially for your brain. you will start to understand how powerful the consumption of water is, just plain water. And you will start to use less sugar or eat less sugar, drink less sugary drinks, and you will start for sure to drink more water. And also, once you understand what's in meat, in most of the meats, unfortunately mass-produced meat today, you will eat less meat and choose other things for protein intake. For example, beans, for example, soy, for example, fish. And you will start to take your own decision and not just follow up on industry decisions that marketing tells us to buy, right? Everybody tells us, well, this is healthy, buy this, consume this, drink that. Read the label, build your own opinion, and you will find out that there's so much rubbish out there, but you can have the power of knowledge. You can use the Keepo rule for every single thing you eat and drink. And this includes understanding the power of magnesium, which is a mineral that occurs, for example, in bananas. Magnesium is the #1 mineral against stress. Your body needs it because it's the mineral that's called the nerve mineral for every single nerve in your body. So if your nerves overreact because you're stressed, you need magnesium. And you need vitamin D, because vitamin D is also called the happiness hormone, the happiness vitamin. And it only comes, the body can't produce it, it only comes if you expose yourself to sunlight. So doing this for 30 minutes a day, just walking outside, breathing, enjoying the sun, has so much more protection than any pill you can ever swallow. And one other thing that's so important for your brain and that we keep forgetting, and so often, I've studied integrated nutrition in New York some years ago, and I was so surprised that nobody told me before how important omega-3 fatty acids are. I thought, well, omega-3, what is that? I was never good in biochemistry. No, but as soon as I understood that the brain cells need good fats, and that omega-3 is the best fat, and that this is the reason why so many Italians have less coronary problems than the rest of the world, because they eat olive oil, tons of it, in salads, over fish, everywhere. And olive oil has the valuable fatty acid omega-3. And you can use it. It's not just olive oil, salmon has it, many fish have it. So start understanding what you give your body, because you depend on it every single day when you go for excellence. You want your body to function at the best level ever. And all of a sudden, once you start reading on it, for example, on the topic of brain food, you will understand that anything you eat, even a piece of dark chocolate, because chocolate itself is not bad, although people tell us that, even a glass of red wine every now and then is not bad, although people might tell us that. No. You will understand what brain food is. You will understand the power of walnuts or blueberries or avocados. And all of a sudden, you will understand what you can do to protect your health from a food perspective. And you might come to the point where you say, well, this is not the ideal breakfast, because all I see on this picture is protein, sugar, fat, and what else? Some meat, some bacon. But what your body needs is, what did you say, is fiber, water, omega-3, protein, and fiber. So it's missing something. So if you would switch that for a bowl in the morning with oats, with fresh fruit, with nuts, with seeds, your body would have a good start into the day. And again, it's not about don't eat this, eat that. It's make the right choice. And if you love your bacon and your eggs, by the way, I love it too, but I stopped eating it every morning. I stopped eating it every weekend. I got into the passion of creating healthy bowls. And yes, I like soda drinks too. I love Coca-Cola, I love other drinks, but understanding that the AHA, the American Heart Association, recommends 6 to 9 spoons of sugar intake per day And then I read the labels, and all of a sudden, Kipo, I understand, wait a minute, look at all those drinks here. Look at the Mountain Dew, look at the Snapples. There are more teaspoons in one drink than we should take in all day. And it's not about saying soda is bad. It's protecting our body from continuously producing cortisol to reduce the sugar in our blood. This happens automatically as soon as you eat sugar. So if you want a can of Coke or Mountain Dew, do it. But know what you feed your body. And take a decision to maybe leave it just with one can, right? That might be enough. And put your mind into one physical activity that you love and then practice it daily. There are so many choices. I mean, Utah is a beautiful place. You can go into the mountains, you can swim, you can hike in winter, you can ski, whatever you do. The important thing is that you do something and not sit in front of Facebook and the computer and in school all day. We need to move our body. Our body is built for the intake of oxygen and for a heart rate that goes up and down, because this is what a healthy body is. So my recommendation, and I always said, because I was so busy with my companies and my foundation, I said, I'm too busy, oh God, either I'm too busy or I'm too tired. Today I know it's just as important as a job. It's just as important as spending time with my family. Physical activity. And you don't have to expand, you don't have to run marathons. 30 minutes a day is fine. Find your routine, include it in your day, and make sure you have fun with it. Because it's possible to have fun. I got a dog, started to walk the woods. And one other thing that Dr. Ilardi from the University of Kansas told us too, in this great book and in this great study, is that social engagements, real people, real connections, help us from the potential risks of any mental health issue, because it's a real life interaction, the talk, the questions, the answers, the brain work that helps us keep healthy. So, and again, I know it's COVID and it's hard to interact in person, but there are opportunities with close friends on a distance. Go for a walk, talk to them, ask questions, learn new things. Social engagement will help you and protect you, just like relaxation. And I don't know how many of you like yoga or do breathing exercises or mindfulness exercises. I don't know, but what I do know is that you don't have to be a yogi to regularly relax your body. And the easiest way to do it is to start breathing differently. To start breathing differently, deeper and longer, hopefully with an open window or every morning, to use the power of breath, because oxygen helps your body get rid of poisons and to decrease your cortisol level, to lower your heart rate, and to decrease your stress level. And if you do it every day and use the power of continuity, your body will get used to it and make a habit of it. The same thing applies to the power of tuning out. And what I mean by tuning out is very simple. Just turn off your TV, turn off your social media, your cell phone, and just disconnect. Because if you disconnect on the outside, you reconnect on the inside, right? And this reconnection will show you how you feel. I never had that time, or I never took the time when I was building my businesses, because I thought, I don't have time for that. So I couldn't feel that a mental health issue was coming. I couldn't feel it because I was so busy. But if you tune out, your body will tell you. You just have to listen to your body. And use the power of fresh air to heal, and the power of nature, as I had said. And I don't know if you realized in the beginning, there was a picture of me sitting in Africa, and I have to maybe give you a solution for that picture. As a child, I lived in South Africa, and I wanted to become a ranger. So, the guy or the girl who leads the tourists through the wilderness. and who tracks elephants and leopards and all that. I wanted that adventure badly. Well, it turned out I became an entrepreneur and an author, but I did go back to Africa and I did become a ranger. And I've learned a very important lesson when I lived for 3 months in the bush, in the wilderness, in a tent, and became a ranger. I learned the wisdom of the elephants, and I was so excited over it. I wrote a book on it with National Geographic. Unfortunately, it's just in German, but I'll tell you the key element of the wisdom of the elephants. And the key element was that the elephant, first of all, the elephant herd is led by a matriarch, a lady. And that matriarch, if you watch her closely, you will see that every couple minutes, she in whatever movement she does, she freezes. Okay, her trunk she does nothing. And the question of my lead ranger was, what is she doing in that second when she does nothing? And I could not answer it as a junior ranger, but now you can answer it. Because I'll give you a hint. This elephant matriarch, this great leader where the whole herd depends on, she practiced mindfulness. And mindfulness is nothing else than doing nothing for a moment, feeling how you feel on the inside, how you are. And then this elephant not only did that, how she felt, she put out her sensors to feel her herd, to see how every single member of the herd felt. And the third thing she did, she checked if the environment had changed. For example, the wind had changed so that lions could approach, which would be a dangerous situation for the herd and the calves. So she did 3 things: rest, do nothing, check on the inside, check with your team, your herd, your family, your friends, how they are, and then scan the environment, and then take a decision to continue. And this is done in just a couple of seconds, that mindful exercise. So if you want to try it tomorrow, or maybe tonight before you go to bed, try it. Close your eyes and imagine the width of Africa. Imagine being a majestic elephant. Close your eyes and feel and think to yourself, what do I feel? And then you think of your beloved ones, your family, your friends, your herd, if you want, how they are when you've heard from them last, how deeply you are connected. And you think of the transformation that is going on every single day in your school, in your class, on your campus. And then maybe you think something positive and close your eyes and have a deep sleep. And by the way, deep sleep, if you want to have a good and deep sleep, 1 hour before you go to sleep, again, tune out. Because science knows that the light of the blue screens of if it's a PC or an iPhone or a TV keeps our serotonin level low. And serotonin is the hormone that helps us sleep, that gives us relaxation. So if through the light it always is kept down, that's nothing you want to happen. You want your level to rise naturally. As the sun goes down, you get tired in the evening, and you find a good rest. If you find a good rest, you'll have a good trip up to your next mountain the next day. And I've talked about that, the next mountain the next day. I can only recommend it. I'm born in Munich, Bavaria, and I don't know if you've ever been there or heard about it. Most people who know about Bavaria just know about the Oktoberfest and the beer, but Bavaria has beautiful mountains and beautiful nature. So when I was really depressed and I didn't know how I could continue my life, my job, my family, my work, I sat in the nature for hours because first of all, I was so deprived of energy, and second off, it was just so healing. So if you feel bad, take a walk in the woods. I mean it. And you know, in Japan, there's an own science. They call it shirin-yoku, which is the science of bathing in the woods. And they have researched it, and when they serve depression patients, they order them to sit under a tree, hug him, touch him, have the leaves in their hands and get in touch with nature. So to wrap it up a bit, and I know we want to answer some questions later on, let me give you 7 hints to show you that you can de-stress yourself. You don't need a teacher for it. You don't need to buy a book for it. You can do it yourself. Because again, stress is not bad in itself. But if it's bad, you need to identify the stressor and then make a plan to change it. So for example, if your stressor is a person or a teacher, then identify it, see on which level it stresses you, and define your strategy. And also understand your body, on which level you are. If you don't know on which level of vitamins and nutrients you are, for example, if your vitamin D level is very low and your magnesium level too, I can promise you in 5 years from now, you run into having the risk of mental issues, because magnesium and vitamin D are the main protectors of the body and the brain against mental issues. So if you want to de-stress yourself, have your blood checked from your doctor, or buy the test on the web. Give them a blood sample and know your vitamin and nutrient levels and understand on which level you start. Practice mindfulness. Find a mindfulness practice that you like. And practice some sort of digital detox. And I know it's not easy because we're just so connected and we love communicating with friends on all social channels. I have that too. But I've learned it the hard way that we need to digitally detox, because when we were created hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, our body was not created for that. Our body was created for exposure with nature, for fights, for runs away from tigers, for eating fresh food, berries and seeds and all of that. So give yourself every now and then a break. And not just in the digital area, but also in the personal area. If things stress you, find the courage to say no. Stop this. This is not good for me. You don't have to take everything in and hope you'll be strong enough, because one day you might not be. I have met students all over the world that told me, I am afraid to be myself, and this stresses me. This makes me sad. I'm telling you, this world is so colorful. You have every right to be yourself, and you have every right to be healthy, but you have to make the steps. You have to put out orders, not orders, what's the name? Borders. You have to put out borders that people are not allowed to step over, because it's not conducive to your mental health. So think about rituals that help you boost your excellence and protect your mental health. If it's food rituals, if it's water rituals, if it's sports rituals, if it's rituals with friends, rethink your existing rituals. And if an existing ritual is jumping out of bed in the morning, checking your Facebook page or your emails, pouring in some sugary coffee and then rushing off, then rethink that ritual. Ask yourself, is that a pathway to excellence? Is that a pathway to my personal health? Is that a pathway to protect my health for years to come? Because you are all really young and you have an adventurous life in front of you, and you don't want to become sick. I'm telling you, if you suffer depression, first of all, it's a burden. It's a tremendous burden for you, your family, and everybody else. But it might happen that you don't have enough energy to change the course anymore. You will be dependent on others to help you, and you don't want that to happen. So protect yourself before that happens. And you do that by being good to yourself, by eating the right food, by practicing mindfulness and being good to your soul. And then if you've done little steps, you can start monitoring, right? You can say, well, did that make me feel good? Or did the banana I ate in the morning, did that do something for me? And I promise you will feel a difference. Because it's scientifically proven and clinically proven that some things are better for us than others. The only problem is we often don't know the difference, and nobody tells us. And you might ask, And you're right about that. Why is that? And the answer is very simple and very sad. The answer is money. Tons of industries want to sell their stuff to us. So they say, eat this, drink that, consume that, or get this iPhone, do this, do that, do that. I'm telling you, think about yourself. Think about what protects you. And start learning what your body and your soul needs. And when should you start that? What do you think? I think you can and you should start this today. And the first step is very easy. You just decide. You start with a decision today. And then tomorrow, you make your first small step. You drink a green smoothie instead of a Mountain Dew. You eat more protein, you eat more fiber. You go for a long walk with your best friend. You tell your partner that you love her or him or whatever. But you make a step. You make a nourishing step, and you never will make my mistake to forget that health is not given. Your health needs your daily decisions. Your mental health and your well-being, they need you. They need an informed you, they need a powerful you, and they need a happy you. So please be happy, be healthy, protect yourself, and I'm looking forward to your questions. And I promise I will come to Utah as soon as COVID allows me to. Until then, I'm always there. If you understand that you can just reprogram your head, because it's not just fear and anxiety that starts in the head, courage too. And whenever you feel not courageous enough, please remember my talk. Please get in touch with me, because my mission is to help you not to be as stupid as I was years ago. So God bless you. I hope to be in touch with all of you. And thank you, Utah. I'm giving back to you, Lynn.
Well, Kerstin, as always, you are so inspiring and so compelling, and you give us such a practical, powerful way to move forward. So thank you, first of all, for that. I do have a few things that I want to share and also ask to follow up. You mentioned the forest bathing in Japan, and those who are longtime viewers of A.P.E.X. may remember that we did have Florence Williams here, who wrote The Nature Fix. So anybody who might be interested in the power of nature, that book by Florence Williams, a former A.P.E.X. guest, is also fantastic. I also want to acknowledge the over 100 people that are watching during this webinar, and so that's just so cool. And everybody in the room, thank you so much for joining us. Another thing that I wrote down is you mentioned the power of mindfulness, and I'm doing a prototype class on resilience and mindfulness this semester, but I do want to make sure that everybody in the room is aware of the mindfulness practices that we are offering via Zoom at SUU. And I can't remember the exact dates, but I do know that if you probably go to the CAST website, that we weekly have a couple of short mindfulness sessions that anybody can log on to and participate in. So if that's a practice that you'd like to develop but aren't quite sure how, that is a really great and easy way to get going with that. Lastly, a little bit of a teaser. Kerstin and I both feel so strongly about these topics, and I know that they are just coming up, and we are so committed on campus to helping our community that if you're interested in this, you can kind of keep your eyes and ears open, because Kerstin definitely will be back in the fall to sort of put some of these in practice. We're doing a international collaboration, and we're hoping to pilot it at SUU. We're calling the Pyramid of Power for campus mental health and success. So keep your eyes and ears open if you'd like to be a part of that and really like to do more work with guides, with help, in a structured environment. So those are a few things that I wanted to make sure to mention. Kerstin, I wanted to ask you, I love what you talk about the power of decisions. So, and you talked about starting today. there may be some people in the room are saying, but well, yeah, I want to do all these things, but it's just too much. Like, I don't have the money. Like you said, I don't have the time. I want to empower myself, but it's just easier to drink soda or to go watch TV before bed. How do you, in your own life, when you were getting started with, how did you find the motivation to do that? I mean, is it as simple as putting Post-its up in your house, or a buddy system? What sort of suggestions might you have from your own experience?
Well, first of all, everybody has a different approach to motivation and has different triggers that motivate him to do and to change something. For me, a big trigger was my family, because I wanted to be healthy again. I wanted to be a lovable and fit person. So I just imagined, it was just a mental sort of exercise, that if I don't do certain things, that I will not be able to experience happy times with my family. And so I told myself, and I hate forcing things onto me that I don't like doing. Like, for example, I'm not the greatest sports person. I love walking mountains and I love using my bike, but that's about it. So I picked small things, from things where I thought, I like that kind of. And then I did that and see how it made me feel. And from that motivation, that felt nice, I'll do it again. I've started to build healthy rituals. And the more healthy rituals you have, the less unhealthy rituals you have, because your day has only 24 hours. So I just increase the number of healthy decisions. For example, snacks in the office. I talked to my team when I came back and said, I want to do something and increase the quality of our snacks in the office. Do you have any ideas on that? And they were actually, I was surprised, they were actually pretty happy and said, oh yeah, we like fruit and blah, 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 this and that. So we didn't not give them cookies anymore, or I did not buy cookies, but I gave them other healthy options. And after a time, I realized a shift, that the nuts and the blueberries and the oranges and the apples were much more consumed, and the nuts, especially the walnuts and the cashews. Cashews have a lot of magnesium, so that you know, and less of the other things. So it's not a don't do this at all or do just that. It's increase the healthy things and start with the things you like. And from that, motivate yourself. Oh, that worked well. And, if you would need the hard way, if you want to learn the hard way, then go into a clinic, visit somebody who has depression or a mental disorder, and you will know for sure that you don't ever want that to happen to you. So either way, do something that brings you back on a healthier path. And, the problem is with mental issues, you don't see it. You don't see it sort of in the face of people, not the people on the street, and not even if you look into the mirror yourself. Because it's, as I said, it's like a tsunami is far away, but it builds. So just keep that picture in your head and say, well, I don't want any creepy stuff to build in my body. I don't want to, have diabetes build because I didn't manage my cortisol levels. I don't want cancer to build because I didn't breathe right and I didn't give my body the chance to get rid of the toxins. So just think of that. And then just know that you can only do the best you can, but start doing that and not just walking blind. Oh, I'm so busy and no time to eat right. So let's just grab the pizza and then the burgers. By the way, I love the American burgers.
Well,
but I don't eat them every day. That's the point. I take keto decisions.
Right. I love what you say about, it's not denying yourself, the things that if you do want to have, something outside of maybe the most healthy decision, you can, but it's these things that accumulate. I wanted to zero in a little bit about the power of ritual and also the monitoring of that, because for me, I find that to be a very clear way to move forward, and maybe people listening, also can feel that. So I love this idea that you bring up about examining our rituals and then examining them first and seeing, are they working for us or are they not working for us? And then, making new rituals or building those rituals. And I wondered if you might expand a little bit on maybe best practices on how to bring that observation into your life.
Sure. Well, first of all, rituals are very powerful change makers in everybody's life. So first of all, understanding what rituals you have helps you to understand on what pathway you are on, okay? So for example, a very helpful thing is to look at your morning ritual. When do you get up? What do you do after getting up? What do you eat, drink, and then before you leave the house, all the things that happen. And then, you can list it on a piece of paper and say, okay, well, now when I look at it, I ask myself, which of those rituals is conducive to my mental health, all right? And then I bet you will find some where you say, well, this is not very conducive to my mental health. And then you think, how can I replace that with a healthier way? For example, when I woke up years ago, I always felt stressed because I thought, oh my God, I've got those meetings. And I even woke up with the stuff in my head. Just like you students or on campus, you might wake up every morning and think, oh my God, I've got this test today. So I always woke up with some stuff in my head until there was nothing anymore because I was just so depressed. So I established a ritual, and the ritual was when I woke up and was still in bed, I sort of snuggled in again and thought, oh my God, and I call that the ritual of thankfulness. Oh my God, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm healthy, I'm alive, my family is here next to me or whatever, I can breathe. And then I just did a breathing exercise. I got up, opened the window, and I just did 1 minute, 60 seconds of breathing exercise, and with that positive flow, and that was a morning ritual. And it just took me all over maybe 2 minutes, but I did that every morning, and I still do that today. The ritual of thankfulness and the ritual of morning breathing. And it has changed, it has literally changed my day. A day I don't, I feel weird. And that's good, because this is what happens with rituals. If we don't do it, we feel weird all of a sudden. So establish healthy rituals. It's a very powerful tool.
I'm so glad that you mentioned the morning ritual, because actually I'm teaching that in my class, a morning mindset ritual, simple 4 steps, that take all of 30 seconds and 1 deep breath, 1 intention, 1 thought of gratitude, and then put your feet down, which is I took from the really great Compete to Create example. That's an audiobook by Michael Gervais and Pete Carroll that's fantastic. So I'm really glad that you mentioned that ritual, and I just hope everybody listening takes a moment in their day to examine their rituals. As we close, and we will be on the radio tomorrow morning together to continue the conversation, get a little more in depth and all of that. So, and that will of course turn into our podcast, which is the A.P.E.X Hour podcast, if anybody's interested. But I wondered if you had any favorite books or favorite resources that you might feel comfortable sharing for people who are really jazzed about this and might want to find out more.
Tons. Oh my God. Well, first of all, I would recommend, let me just get the title right of his book. Let's see. The book of Dr. Stephen Ilardi. I mentioned it in the talk. I think, Lynn, you have to give the participants online the name of the book, but his name is Dr. Stephen Ilardi, and I think it's called like Healing Depression Without Drugs or something like that. And
we'll find it.
yeah, it's everywhere. And if you Google on Amazon, Dr. Stephen Ilardi, he's actually a pretty young guy. And again, it's clinically proven what he has shown. And then there are tons of books on brain food. And I love them all because they teach in a very simple way how powerful food can be and what to avoid and what to eat more of. And that's just so helpful, so super helpful. And another book that I would recommend is What the Soul Would Like to Eat. I think that's what it's called. I can't remember the name of the author. It's a lady. I think she's either British or American. And it's a bit dry. So this is a book more for for people who like to look into science, but it's right on, why is the walnut better than the French fry and what is it, etc. So those 3 books I would recommend. And also one final recommendation, I know that we're about to close, and this is from my personal experience. I said, I hope that you take so much inspiration from it that you protect yourself. But let's just say you experience down phases and it doesn't work for some reason. I can only beg you intensely to talk to somebody. If it's a doctor, a friend, or depression foundation or mental health experts, you're not alone with this. Again, we're talking about nearly 1 billion people that have that all around the world, and there is help out there. The only problem is when we have mental health issues, all of a sudden we don't realize anymore that there is help out there. We just feel so sad and so drowned and so depleted that it just doesn't come to our mind. So please remember that if you ever have serious issues and you feel sad for a long time, get help and change your food and change all the things that we said today, but you're not alone.
Thank you.
And write my email address. If you ever need me, write me an email.
Thank you so much for that. That is absolutely right and so important. These tools that we're talking about are about empowering our choices. They are about protecting ourselves, developing our armor, so to speak. But absolutely, I mean, talking to a professional, recognizing, reaching out for help is so important. So thank you for mentioning that as well. So, well, we're out of time for our Festival of Excellence 2021. We do want to remind everyone to examine your rituals, examine your choices, moderate and see, follow up and do things that will increase your success and really get out those invisible enemies that are around us. So Kerstin, with that, I'd like to say on behalf of everyone here in the room and also everyone online, thank you so much for spending time with us today. And we will look forward to having you on campus when we can. Thank you so much.